Hey, what is up? I am so glad you are here today. I'm really glad to see you all, and I'm looking forward to talking to you today and giving you lots of good information that you can use when you are at home, when you're doing things and that you need to be able to feel better naturally. And so that's really going to be the focus of what I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a slideshow and we're going to talk about secrets. I love it. I love that particular phrase because it is secrets. It's stuff that people don't really know. A lot of people don't know. And so I'm really looking forward to this, and we're going to get started. So I'm going to do some screen share here with my PowerPoint. So just bear with me for a minute. Share screen, and we will make this thing happen. Right. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day today. I am, for sure. But we're going to talk about how to eliminate sinus pain and allergies, especially in mothers, within 2 months, which is awesome, without shots or medication, which is, a lot of people would say, unbelievable. So we're going to talk about secrets today. So these are scientific secrets, and we want to be able to get rid of sinus pain and allergies. And the reason I'm confident we can do that is because I have done that thousands of times for thousands of people over a decade. And this is without shots, without medications, without feeling guilty for spending time and money. Time is the big one for a lot of people, or making huge lifestyle changes. So what I'm not going to talk about is eliminate everything from your diet for, a year, which can happen a lot of times. It's like you're going to eat 3 foods for the next year. We're not going to talk about that because it's not sustainable. It's not feasible to be able to do this in the long term. So if y'all have questions, feel free to let me know, but we're going to get started. So what's different about what we do? So I am an East Asian medical practitioner. I'm an acupuncturist. And what's different is we don't just depend on medication. So we're not just going to medicate everything away. And I'm not saying medication's bad, by the way, not saying that at all. Sometimes medication is necessary. It's important. If somebody's having an anaphylactic reaction, their throat's swelling up, I want them to have Western medication to make sure they survive. What I am going to talk about, though, is that most people don't feel that they have an option, that they have a choice to do anything differently. And that is what I want to focus on today, is that there is an option, there is a choice to do something natural and to be able to help yourself from home. This is not a theory. This is in practice because this is stuff that I've helped people with for years and years and years. So this isn't just theoretical. This is something that I want to make a difference. So, you'll see a little bit about me. I graduated from multiple colleges. My undergrad's in psychology, which I'll be telling more of my story coming up. But I'm from Johnson City, Tennessee. I went to Cookeville at Tennessee Tech and got a degree in psychology. And what's important about that is it's actually more experimental psychology. So that means that I focused on experiments. I focused on studies. And so I love research because I can look at it critically. I can look at it critically and really know what I'm looking at. And I've practiced all over the country. So I practiced up in Seattle. The picture in the middle here is me in Fairbanks, Alaska. And this is me now. Well, I have a beard now, but that's me now as far as being able to help people from home. Because at some point I realized that with the pandemic and with everything going on, we realized we can do more things from home. And so, as I mentioned, I've been all over the country. The picture down at the bottom is in Fairbanks, Alaska, or outside of Fairbanks, Alaska. Gorgeous. Seattle is where I went to school there on the upper right, and upper left is in Oregon. So, I've been everywhere, and I've helped people from all over the world. I've helped people all over the country, and I know that I can help people that I have a chance to mentor and to teach. So my goal for you for this webinar is for you to know first, the only way to eliminate allergies and sensitivities from your life is first you need to know what they are. I know this sounds simple, but it's actually not simple, because if it's a true allergy, you can get an allergy test. An allergy test, they basically test for IgE, which is immunoglobulin E. I'm not going to get into all that because I have that in my ebook, which I can give you. But the only way to know is know what they are. And if you're sensitive to something, it's not going to show up because it affects you by different mechanisms. So there's like this one immunoglobulin. There's this one thing in your blood that will show, hey, you're allergic to this. But if you have other sensitivities, then it doesn't show that. And most people do have other sensitivities. This is really important. Once you know what your problems are, what your allergies are, what your sensitivities are, the only way to make long-term relief is changing your environment. Change what you put in your environment and what you put in your body. So what you're exposed to, what you put in your body. And I'm not talking about massive elimination, by the way. I am talking about critical changes that can help decrease histamines and decrease the issues you're having. So is this webinar for you? So this webinar is for people who know they have allergies or sensitivities, or they think they have allergies or sensitivities. You know you have sinus pain, so you have pain here in sinuses here, headaches. And if you think you may have allergies and sensitivities, but you aren't quite sure what those are yet, those are for you. Now, if you stay till the end, you're going to have the chance to get our awesome ebook, The Allergy Sufferer's Guide, which I wrote. And it's going to talk about some of the information here, but it's also going to talk about the science behind it. It's going to talk about some of the supplements. It's going to talk about things that are important and things that you can read from home. Because that's my goal, again, is not only help you implement this, but to help you from your home, because not all of you can come to Western North Carolina and see me. I would love if you could see me in Western North Carolina, but not all of you can. If you implement this program, we're going to be looking at short-term relief first. So there's multiple types of relief you'll get. The short-term relief is immediately you should notice a difference. Here's a testimonial by one of my favorite people I've worked with. And it says, me, Mike, is, great acupuncturist, bedside manner professional, insightful, and allergy desensitization, which is my forte. It's what I love to treat. So in the short term, you're going to notice a difference. In the long term, we've gathered data from another office that does the same technique I do, and my office. There's survey questionnaires, signs and symptoms, the number of patient visits and the symptoms. 2/3 of the sample group in the study experienced a resolution of symptoms. And this isn't like a minor resolution. This is a resolution. In my clinic, I'm looking at about 85% success rate with allergies. Now that means 15% don't respond. And that means 85% do respond. And responding for me is a 70% or greater reduction in symptoms within 10 visits. But this study with this particular, with the same allergy technique in this other clinic, they were looking at complete resolution of symptoms, which is just amazing, amazing. So I'm Michael. I've already introduced myself to you. And I've done a lot of speaking. So this isn't my first time that I'm going to be talking on camera, on radio. Over the years, I've done a lot of in-person speaking at different libraries, at different events, at the expo, huge expo in Seattle, Washington. There's huge expos in Fairbanks, Alaska that I've spoken at, and I really enjoy it. And I've also had a chance to be on television. So I've had a chance to introduce myself and talk to people here on ABC 13 in Western North Carolina. So WLOS, which is amazing. Down in the bottom left there, you'll see Dr. Scott Looper, which is one of the foremost naturopaths in the country. He works a lot with severe conditions. He works a lot with allergies. He works with cancer, especially. So stuff that you just don't think about. And I actually was on his radio show 8 or 9 times. So I've spent a lot of time with him and speaking and teaching people when I was in Alaska. And I love radio. I love doing it. The call-ins were great. Everything was wonderful. Also, the famous Jennifer J. Hammond, I was on her podcast, which was amazing. She's just super, super wonderful. So I really, really enjoyed being with her. So that's more about me. Here's what people don't know about me. So I'm going to open up about stuff here that you guys have not heard about before. Even if you know me, you probably haven't heard about some of this stuff from me. But I was not health oriented when I was a kid. You'll see the awful 80s picture up there in the upper left corner, which is pretty hilarious, right? It's like everybody had one of those pictures at some point whenever they were kids in the South or anywhere in the 80s, honestly. So not health oriented. I didn't do sports. I love my mom, but she really didn't like me to do anything that could be risky. She thought everything was dangerous. And so the encouragement was to not do it because it could kill you, because it could hurt you. So I didn't weightlift. I didn't bicycle. I mean, I biked a little bit to school and back, but not seriously. I didn't exercise. And so I got really unhealthy. There's me in the middle left trying to do judo. I was terrible at it, but I enjoyed it. I was so bad. There's me at my dad's wedding when I was 11 years old in the bottom left, that sharp tux. I look pretty sharp there, don't I? The upper right. So this is an interesting story. I'll share more about it, but I always had breathing issues and allergies, and I didn't really know what they were. On the upper right is when I was in Peru, and in Lima, the dust and dirt is a real problem there. It's a real issue. So this is before masks were cool, right? Because right now everybody wears masks because you have to wear masks, or at least in some parts of the country. But then I was wearing masks because I needed to protect my lungs. Look at all that dirt. That just came from the air, by the way. That was not me wiping the mask. And that's me exhausted because when I was there, I also got pneumonia and I got really sick. So not pleasant. Here's me ziplining, which I was terrified of. I'm surprised my mom let me do it because everything's dangerous, according to her. And there's me looking like a nerdy teenager. So the main thing people don't know is that I was not particularly healthy. I was not health focused. I definitely didn't plan on being in any sort of health field at all. And what I'm saying is, if I can do better, then you can too. Now, are my allergies completely gone? No, but they are mostly gone. I don't have asthma anymore. I don't have where I can't breathe anymore. When I do get allergies to specific things that I'm not taking care of myself right, I'm not doing the right things because I've had treatment, it's gotten considerably better. So the problem is usually with me, not with the allergies. So if I could do it, you can do it. And I want to show you how. So for me, excuse me, everything changed. This is me at Machu Picchu in Lima, Peru. So when I was in high school, I was not very confident. I was very unhealthy. I'm on the very right there in that really nerdy 90s shirt. It's so bad. Anyways, so this was a big trip for me because I had never really left East Tennessee much. I may have been a couple places. I went to parade in Macy's Parade in New York and performed, and I performed at the Rose Bowl, but it's different going to another country. And so we went to build houses and build a church. And so when I was there, this was like a really new experience for me. And I realized how important it is to be healthy because that mountain is big. I know it looks big, but it's bigger than you think. It's massive, massive. And it is at 11,000 feet elevation, 11,000 feet, which is just a lot. So I would be so winded. I could barely walk. I still had all the allergy stuff going on. There was all the dust. I had pneumonia on top of that. So funny story, I was walking through the streets of Cusco, Peru, which is between 10 and 11,000 feet. And I was really sick and we couldn't figure out what was going on. And there, you didn't have to go to a doctor always. So we had a nurse with our team and she took me to a pharmacist and basically begged them for cough syrup. And finally, they gave me some cough syrup. And I didn't know anything about it. I was 18 and I didn't measure the cough syrup. I just took like a big drink. It was codeine cough syrup. So I passed out like mid hammer while I was hammering. So this trip made me realize that I wanted to help people and I wanted to make a difference. But I also wanted to be healthy. And at the time I thought mental health is the field to get into. And so I got out of there. I decided not to stay home. So I went to Tennessee Tech, which is in Cookeville, Tennessee. And I got a degree at the beginning. I was actually in music and I love music. And I realized I didn't want to be a teacher. So, and I wasn't good enough performer to be a performance artist. So what I ended up doing is I ended up going into psychology and I loved it. I graduated with honors and got out of college and I did nothing with it because I found out with an undergrad in psychology, there's not much you can do, not much at all. And I knew I still wanted to help people. I actually helped some Cherokee indigenous peoples in Tennessee get clothing for the Lakota tribe that we sent up. And I got invited to work in a substance treatment center in Middle Tennessee, even though I didn't yet have my graduate degree, which was a huge honor. And it made me realize, though, that I wanted to help people, but I don't think I would have been particularly good at psychology. So I decided to look into other things. And at the time, I was in Kung Fu, which had helped me lose weight. And my Kung Fu teacher did acupressure on us. I had a next door neighbor who was into Chinese herbal stuff. He grew his own Chinese herbs. And between those two things, I had had really bad migraines. A lot of that might have been due to allergies, and it may have just been due to having migraines. And nothing else had helped. I've been on the pill carousel, nothing really helped. And those helped. And I thought, well, this is awesome. And I'd never really even heard of acupuncture or Asian medicine at all. Because I'm in East Tennessee, right? Nobody thinks about these things. At least they didn't. Now they do. In the 90s, not most of East Tennessee was not thinking, sure, I'll go be an acupuncturist. So I went to visit Seattle. And in 2000, when was that? 2006. And I fell in love with it. I was there the one week that there was no rain in the spring. And I showed up and they were like, don't believe this. This is a lie. This is not what Seattle is like. I'm like, oh, whatever. And so right before I was getting ready to leave, my house got robbed and I had nothing except for my clothes. So I packed some trash bags of clothes and I moved to Seattle, Washington to learn acupuncture at one of the top 3 universities in the country for acupuncture and East Asian medicine, which is Bastyr University. That's what you see right there in front of you. And I did the graduate program there in just 3 years. I knew I wanted to help people. There's my wife that I met while I was in school. Her name's Kim. And I knew I wanted to help people. I absolutely knew that that's what I wanted to do. And this was the way to do it. So I worked for 2 years underneath a Japanese practitioner, which was a good experience because I learned a gentle style of acupuncture that I didn't learn before. I learned to like do things more gently because in school we didn't really learn gentle technique. We learned this is where you stick the points. This is the diet recommendations. These are the herbal recommendations, but you don't learn the experience part. So for 2 years in Seattle, I worked insanely. And then I got a job in Fairbanks, Alaska. Fairbanks, which is a long way away. If you don't know where Fairbanks is, it's a little over 100 miles under the Arctic Circle. So it is cold, it is dark, and I found it by accident. I was looking at jobs in Seattle, Washington. I found that one in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I didn't know it was Alaska because it said Fairbanks, but they listed it in the Seattle Craigslist because nobody was coming to Alaska at the time without some sort of something to convince them to come. And I visited, my wife and I just fell in love with it. So we went all the way to Alaska and I was working, I was living the dream. I had a very successful practice up there. And yeah, I learned more on the job. I had kids while I was up there, not the youngest, but those are my other two. And aren't they cute? Logan, Nathan, and Olivia. And so we had some kids, and we were up there for about 6 years. And I realized that I needed to be closer to family, either my wife's family or mine. So we bought a practice in Salem, Oregon. And I went to Salem, Oregon, and I practiced there for 4 years. And my mom was started getting really sick, and she's in Tennessee, or was. And I decided that I needed to be closer to my family because my wife's family were doing a lot better. There were multiple siblings where I was the only child. And I wanted somewhere that I could practice that I loved, that I could help people, and that I wasn't controlled by insurance companies. I'm not insulting insurance because it's important to have, but from an acupuncture point of view, from an East Asian medicine point of view, it does not allow me to do what I want to do to help people. I want to be able to help people with all my tools without the money being the biggest part of it. So instead, I just have a flat fee and I do everything that needs to be done in that visit. Whereas insurance companies were telling me, you can't talk to the patient beforehand. You can't learn anything about them. You have to charge extra if you spend that time talking. We may not pay you if we don't feel like. And so I thought about where were the happiest places, the happiest place that I grew up or that I knew of growing up. And it's Western North Carolina. My grandparents lived there. I used to spend weeks and weeks up there every year helping them on the farm. I was a terrible farmer. And so they had passed, but that was my happy spot when I had to do EMDR because I'll tell you about them some other time, but multiple traumatic brain injuries and major car accidents. And I did EMDR, which helps PTSD. And when we thought about our happy place as part of the counseling, Western North Carolina was it. So I decided to found Pristine Acupuncture and Wellness here in Western North Carolina. And I really want to focus on helping everyone I can. And I realized it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to be able just to help the people in my area, because my area is fairly small. And I could help people a lot further out. And so that is why we are here. After 30 plus years, I discovered the hard way that there's a lot of effort that goes into learning this stuff. I used to Google it, Dr. Google. I still Google things, and it's a terrible, terrible habit because Google doesn't really teach you what you need to know. It's not personalized to you. Last time I had some, I think it was psoas pain and muscle pain. And so I Googled, right? And it's like, you're dying. Everything on the list is like, you're dying, you're dying, you're dying. And then like the last thing is, or it could be muscular. And so I learned the hard way that that's not good enough. And if you've been struggling, this is why. You've probably been doing things the traditional way, which is the hard way. Traditionally, you take medicine with side effects, and there's no end. There's never an end because there's not supposed to be an end. Medications don't have an end point. You take them and you take them and you take them. And it's really good for the businesses, but it's not always good for you. Allergy shots, there are an end, but it's really long process. It takes years. It's painful, and it's about 50-50 most of the time, which I'm not saying it's bad. If it works 50% of the time, that's great. Usually I'm the one that sees you after it doesn't work. Scratch test, we talked about blood tests for allergies. They also do a scratch test, which is unpleasant, where they basically map out allergens and put them in your skin, and then you get welts, and it's no fun. And you have to eat like a squirrel the hard way. And what I mean by that is like eat very, very few things and store it up. And the real problem, the real dilemma here is that if you eat like that, you're exposing yourself to those foods more and more and more. And the more you expose yourself to those foods, the more that you're going to have allergies and sensitivities to those foods because you're getting overexposed to very few foods. And you're looking at years worth of effort. You're looking at allergists, which all have a different opinion of the way things work. And by the way, it's important to see an allergist. I'm not saying that, but every allergist is different. So you're going to be getting different treatments. And you're also, a lot of times people ask their neighbor or their friend or their aunt's uncle's cousin about their problem. And you're asking people who don't know much about the problem to solve the problem for you. So there's another way. Another way is lifestyle changes, which can be really simple lifestyle changes. Alternative testing, there's blood tests that can test for sensitivities as well. Chinese herbs, Western herbs, supplements, and these are things that you can take as needed. You don't have to take these forever because I had mentioned medication, but you're also going to have a lot less side effects if you pick the right ones. Whereas if you take Allegra every day, it's going to make you tired. It's going to have side effects. There's long-term tools you can use. No allergy shots. This is a big one. Is not having to get allergy shots. Limited medications. I say limited because sometimes you're still going to need medication as things are getting leveled out. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Too many people are like, it's all or nothing. And it's like, sometimes you need medications. If you're having that anaphylactic reaction, you better get a shot of adrenaline. You're going to need it so you don't die, because no one wants that to happen. You have tools for success from your home. That's a big one for me, is that a lot of times if you're a mom, my wife is a mom of 3 kids. And what you learn is you can't always go out. You have to take care of the kids. You have stuff you have to do. And with that, you need to be able to do stuff from your home. So we're going to jump right in. That's a little bit about my philosophy, who I am, where I come from. We'll talk more about that. But I want to give you some secrets for sinus pain and allergy relief. Secret 1 is called the distance dilemma. That's how to eliminate your sinus pain and allergies. And you don't have to come into my office, because that's one of the biggest questions I get. Secret 2 is the new hope formula. This ain't Star Wars. How do you solve sinus issues and allergies, even if you're a busy mom? And this is really typical. A mom who typically spends money on others and not yourself. Ain't that the truth? Moms are so unselfish, but being unselfish means you also don't take care of yourself as much as you should. But it's really, really typical. So you need to take care of yourself. We'll talk more about that. And the Lifestyle Matters Roadmap. And that is, you want to use lifestyle without taking it too far. This is a big one, because you could take it too far and end up starving yourself or cause problems. And we're talking about solving sinus pain, headaches, allergies. And that's even if you don't feel like you can follow a special squirrel diet. So secret number 1 is the distance dilemma, how to eliminate sinus pain and allergies, and you don't even have to come into my office. The reason I call it the distance dilemma is because distance is a problem. It's like, I am in a specific part of the country, and I know if you were here, I could absolutely help you with your allergies. I could, but you're not here. I can still help you with your allergies. That's what's important. So I have lots of experience in helping people from all over the country. So, one thing I learned in undergrad was psychology. I was in psychology. This is my granny and my mom, both have passed on at my graduation. And in psychology, distance isn't, it's good to be in the same room as somebody, but distance isn't as important. You could do virtual, you could do phone call. So why can't you do that with East Asian medicine? In grad school, East Asian medical practitioner, we didn't just learn acupuncture. There's herbs, there's diet is huge. There's a whole field of East Asian medical diet stuff that people don't know about, don't talk about. It's not commonly known, but we learn it. And it was one of my favorite things. There's Qigong that you can teach people, and breathing. There's Tai Chi. There's all these different things. And there's the experience that I've had in Seattle and Alaska, because I've had the benefit of being able to work with medical practitioners who are experts in their field, with supplements, with herbs, with things that work, and research. And then there's NAET, which is the allergy elimination technique, which you don't always have to be right there to be able to get. there's naturopathic medicine that I've been around, and there's all the self-discovery of all the things that I've learned over the years. And it's taken a lot out of me. It's a lot of investment. I spent over $200,000 in 30 years of my life figuring out how to help people in a way that is best for me and for them, which is a lot of time and money, but it's absolutely worth it. So this can work for busy moms, people strapped for time and resources, which is a big one. People willing to take advice and actually follow it, which is huge. If you're not willing to take advice and follow it, this is not for you. Absolutely. Like you should log off. And I'm not meaning that in a mean way, but if we aren't willing to make changes, then we aren't going to see a difference. I mean, even medication is a change. You're taking a risk, you're flipping a coin, and you're taking the risk of, am I willing to do side effects? Am I willing to take a chance to try to get better? Families who want to work together on this stuff is really important as well. People who want to get better, who actually want to get better. This is a big one. I know that sounds silly, but you have to want to get better. And people who want to avoid daily pharmaceutical medications and allergy shots. So as far as the distance dilemma, the biggest secret is you don't have to be there in person. And there are supplements you can take, which my ebook has those things. And we're going to talk about some of those. There are diet things you can do if you have the right people to guide you. There are things you can do and not have to be here to get better. Secret number 2, New Hope formula. This ain't Star Wars. How do you solve sinus issues and allergies if you're a busy mom who tends to spend money on others and not yourself? Really common. This is me postgraduate. And time is important. Time is important. And you think about your kids, which is great, by the way. You think about your kids, you think about those people around you, but you don't think about yourself enough. And you can't take care of your family if you don't take care of yourself. And so making time, making resources to make a difference and make sure that you are delivering for yourself so that you can deliver for your family. This is a huge secret. What we expose our body to matters. It matters because think about it. I mean, I tell people this with acupuncture, and this is why I really like this side of things where I can help people with lifestyle, with diet, with all these different things, supplements, because when you come in for acupuncture, let's say you come in twice a week or 3 times a week, we'll say twice. The problem is you're seeing me for an hour and a half a week, maybe a little less, and you're exposing yourself to life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A lot of hours. I'm not going to 148 hours, anyways, a lot of hours. So it's really hard to make that difference when what you're exposing yourself to, what you're breathing in on a constant basis. If you're breathing in mold, if you're breathing in dander that you have a sensitivity to, and then you're eating crap, then it's really hard to make a huge difference. People say practice makes perfect, practice makes permanent, I've heard, which I like even better. But, making sure that it's not just money, taking the time for yourself, moms, taking the time for yourself to be able to make a difference and practice things that are going to make you feel better. So my second secret is be ready to make changes. Set aside time and money for yourself and not just for others, because you're going to help others by helping yourself. And when you do that, make sure that if you know you're sensitive to a food, then work on it. Be ready with supplements, be ready to cut down on it. It doesn't mean always cutting it completely out, but cut down on it and really, really, really focus on yourself. Put the resources, put the attention. Attention is so important. Put the attention on yourself and on helping others. It makes an absolute difference. Secret number 3 is the Lifestyle Matters Roadmap. How do you use lifestyle without taking it too far to solve sinus pain and allergies, even if you don't feel like you can follow a squirrel diet? So we talked about resources. I'm now going to talk about changes, lifestyle. And this is me in Alaska. And the reason I point this out, look at my kids when they're young. The reason I point out lifestyle is Alaska is where I really learned learned about lifestyle. I learned the people up there know lifestyle. They know, absolutely know how to focus on lifestyle. And there's a certain lifestyle up there. Exercise is regular up there for almost everybody because it keeps you sane from going crazy. Diet is important up there. Your body's burning lots of fat to stay warm. There's local moose that people hunt and caribou, which means you get delicious organic food that's happy food. So you have important lifestyle up there. And that's where I learned that you can do so much from home. So for the lifestyle matters, be honest with yourself. Step one is this a problem you want to solve? That's a hard question, isn't it? Hard question. Is this a problem you want to solve? If it is, you need to make a decision to get help for yourself, moms, not just for others, because I know you're going to be thinking, how does this impact my family, which is important, but you need to make a decision to get help for yourself and make changes for yourself and have your family on board. I mean, that's so important because with diet, especially, right? You're cooking meals, you're doing these things, excuse me, and you have to have everybody on board. And step three is if you know there's a problem and you want the solution, you have to find the right vehicle and take action. If this vehicle is right for you, then you should go forward with it and you should do it. If it isn't right for you, I will tell you, do not do it. Don't get close to it. Nothing, because it's so important for you to find the right vehicle, to take action. Take action. Action is everything. So my biggest secret for lifestyle is not only using lifestyle and making a commitment to it, but be ready to take action, like observable action, instead of just like, oh, well, I didn't try. I didn't even try and I didn't notice the difference and it's your fault. It's like, no, you have to be ready to take action. And this is just as hard for me, by the way. I love dairy, and there's been times in my life I don't need to eat dairy, and I have to stop myself. And so you need to be able to take lifestyle, and whether that's taking supplements, whether that's like if you know you have a wheat allergy, a major wheat problem, and you are still eating wheat, maybe you shouldn't do that. So we talked about these things, but I'm going to go back over them again. Secret one is the distance dilemma. How to eliminate your sinus pain, your allergies, and you don't even have to come into my office. In other words, you can be at home and get a change. Secret two is the new hope formula. This ain't Star Wars. How to use lifestyle without taking it too far to solve sinus pain and allergies, even if you don't feel like you can follow a squirrel diet. So this is important. Oh, sorry, I had a typo. Sorry about that. The Lifestyle Matters Roadmap is the lifestyle one. The new hope formula is taking time for yourself and helping yourself. Time, money, resources for yourself. That is the formula. And then Lifestyle Matters, we talked about, is lifestyle. And speaking of lifestyle, being happy where you're at. This is a view of a highway in Alaska. It's a gorgeous place. And that's part of lifestyle too, is really focusing on yourself. And at Pristine Acupuncture and Wellness, we really I believe now, in helping people and finding ways to make people's lives better in general, better from home. And so, what I offer, I want you to take whatever you heard today and run with it. That you're going to get my ebook, and it's going to tell you a lot about supplements and lifestyle that you can do. So take it and run with it. If you feel like you need further help, if you feel like that's not enough, I absolutely can still help you. So what I'm offering for a program is I'm offering a 6-week Pristine Acupuncture Allergy Elimination Masterclass. So if you join the program, there's going to be 6 weeks coming up once a week where there'll be a class where we get to the bottom of everything. We're going to be talking about things you get exposed to. We're going to be talking about how allergies work and the science behind it. We're going to be talking about what elimination looks like, what lifestyle stuff looks like, what putting in effort looks like, supplements, herbs, all these different things are what we're going to be focusing on for 6 weeks. So that is our allergy elimination masterclass. And this will work for anybody who wants to avoid allergy shots, pharmaceutical medications, especially moms, families, busy people. And if you know you have an allergy or sensitivity, if you've had any sinus pain and allergies or headaches from sinus issues, if you think you have sensitivities to food and environment, and if you don't live within an hour to come see me or an hour and a half, or you don't have time to see me 2 to 3 times a week. So what you're going to get is a 6-week allergy elimination masterclass. You can get the tools you need to figure out. First, we mentioned in the beginning, figure out what you're allergic and sensitive to, how to solve that with lifestyle, supplements, herbs, natural treatments. Usually my time is worth a lot. I spend a lot of time with people. I have run multiple rooms. So this is a $2,400 value, just that 6-week masterclass. I'm also going to be providing a blueprint. So common allergies, sensitivities, how to tell the difference between allergy and sensitivity, and how to tell if they may be bothering you. I'm going to be sending that blueprint as well, which is a $1,300 value. It's going to be step-by-step what to do about it. So if you can look at the different allergies and sensitivities, what to do about it, how to tell if these things you might be allergic to. On top of that, I'm doing 3 one-on-one Zoom coaching sessions, which I think is really important. So class is great. Masterclass works great. The blueprint works great. But the one-on-one Zoom coaching sessions are really the most important in my opinion, because those show you how that applies to you in particular, you. So that's really important for me, is I want to apply it to you, because we're all unique individuals. And so we all need that one-on-one to make sure that we're going in the right direction. So I mentioned, there's the masterclass, there's a blueprint, and the one-on-one Zoom coaching sessions, $1,200 value. I've never offered that before. You can ask questions. You can learn directly from me one-to-one how to move forward with allergy, sensitivity, elimination. I'll do a full intake, provide tools and insights for short-term and long-term. And again, I don't offer this usually because I usually run multiple rooms. And so it's hard for me to take time to do one-on-one, but I'm going to do it for y'all. So, $2,400 value with the masterclass, $1,300 for the allergy and sensitivity blueprint, $1,200 for the one-on-one Zoom calls. You're also getting my allergy ebook, which you can get today. Just let me know. I'll send it right to you. Whenever the course starts, I'm also going to be doing notes connecting the ebook to what we talked about in the class. And that way you can learn it, apply it, and have it for home. So you'll have those notes to be able to make sure that you are on the right track, make sure you're doing the things that you need to do. You're also going to get a supplement herbal guide for allergies and sinus issues. So I'm going to have a whole guide so you can know different things to take for headaches, allergies, what they may interact with, and how to choose what's best for you. It's a really important one because Google doesn't tell you a lot. If you Google stuff, it does tell you certain things. Google will tell you, like a list, but it doesn't necessarily tell you if it's right for you. So that's a $5,800 value. So if all this did was help you eliminate your sinus pain and allergies without having to come in, would it be worth it? If all it did was help you to know the proper diet and lifestyle for your long-term success, would it be worth it? And if it enabled you to help get through, though you're busy, help get help even though you're busy, and usually don't get help for yourself, you usually focus on others, would it be worth it? So I had 2 different choices here. I actually thought carefully about these. My first option, which I considered, was just to go as low as possible and reach thousands and thousands of people. The problem is I couldn't give the right attention. I wouldn't be able to do the Zoom calls. I wouldn't be able to do customized things towards particular people. So I decided to go with the second option, which is a higher investment that would enable me to focus more time on you. So it's absolutely a great deal at $5,800. and I could have left it there. I mean, it's a good deal. But I want to be able to help more people. So I'm doing the whole program for $9.97. It's not going to stay at this price. It will go up. But I'm keeping it at this in the beginning to make sure that I get all the one-on-one help that I can give to other people and make a difference in enough people's lives to make it justified, because a lot of time and effort's going into it. And a lot of time and effort has gone into everything that has taught me about allergies. So, click below, enroll, change your life. And if you can't click, if something goes wrong, just message me. But I absolutely want to help you. So that is my biggest focus, is to help you. And I'm really glad that you came today. So I will give you a link, but one of the number one mistakes that people make, is that people don't focus on themselves enough. So this is so important, is to really focus on yourself more. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the computer there.
Yeah, I'm really glad.
But yeah, so, focus on yourself. Focus on helping yourself, getting help for yourself. So is it worth it to you? Is it absolutely worth it? I think it is. And, I'm going to over deliver every time. If I don't over deliver, then I will do whatever I can to make sure that you are getting what you need to get. That is my absolute goal, is to give you what you need one-on-one to make a difference. So if that's a problem for you, if you can't focus on it, don't do it. Don't do it. If you can focus on it, I'm going to over deliver. So everything you saw in there, you're going to get, I guarantee I'm going to do more, 100% more, because I care. So I highly encourage you to do the program. If you have questions, reach out. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been really great. I'm going to be doing more of these in the future.